Hello, my name is Bruce Young. Thank you for viewing my Sync Session 3 Forensics Investigation. So the scenario is that you are a forensics expert. The police have called on you to act as an expert witness for an investigation you helped them with. Describe what you would bring to the hearing and what type of questions you would expect to be asked. Describe how you documented the scene and the equipment you touched, as well as the process you took to complete the investigation. So the following presentation will address this scenario as myself as an expert witness. First, the items needed for the hearing, right? That would include documentation and reports. The first item would be a curriculum vitae, which identifies my professional experience as an expert witness. If it's a federal case or in other cases, there might be additional information that could be asked for as far as my experience as an expert witness in the previous 4 years. That could be requested 10 years of any published writings and previous compensation received for providing testimony as an expert witness. In addition, a list of technical terms, since the testimony is regarding an expert witness regarding digital forensics. It's good to have the terminology defined in a non-technical document for the audience. A critical piece of documentation that may be required is the change of custody or change of evidence. It could have detailed questioning around who and how the evidence was handled and secured. And finally, the critical piece would be the final report that includes all the conclusions from the supporting documentation, figures, tables, data, and how the processing and analysis resulted in conclusions. In preparation for the questioning, as an expert witness called to testify for an investigation, there are many different types of questions that will be asked. Again, as an expert witness, an awareness that lawyers use a service called disposition banks, which store examples of expert witnesses' previous testimonies. So if you've been utilized as an expert witness in the past, there's a chance that testimony could be recorded, and lawyers use that service to see how you responded in the past. And then the attorney that you are acting for as an expert witness should prepare an examination plan for the expectation of questions that will be asked. The examination plan prepares the attorney on the responses to the questions to ensure he is comfortable with the terminology and technical details. So some of the different types of questions, starting with your experience as an expert witness. Again, referring back to your curriculum vitae or your resume that documents your previous experiences, including as an expert witness, any academic assignments that you've performed, or any memberships and publications in your field of expertise. Then there could be questions regarding the chain of evidence. Were you the one that collected the evidence? Was the process used to gather, what was the process used to gather digital information? And how was the evidence obtained to ensure it was not contaminated or altered? Again, so things that would be in the chain of evidence of who handled it, how it was secured, and who performed any analysis on the evidence. And then questions of the process used to collect the evidence. And then around the final report questioning, which is going to be really the heart of the findings from the investigation itself. So the specific questions on the outcome of the investigation, what was found, how did you go through the process when dealing with the evidence, were all of the general forensics and procedural principles applied upon seizing the digital evidence, were actions taken to preserve it. When accessing the original evidence, were all personnel trained and certified to handle the evidence? Were all activities relating to the seizure, access, storage, or transfer of digital evidence fully documented, preserved, and available for review? And was any individual responsible for all the actions taken with respect to the digital evidence in their possession? So those would be the questioning around the final report. And again, the specific questions of the findings that are critical to the case itself. So to just document the scene, the forensics process that was followed, which would include the collection process that identifies, labels, records, and acquired data for the possible source of relevant data, while following guidelines and procedures that preserve the integrity of the data. And then the examination process, which includes forensically processing large amounts of collected data using a combination of automated and manual methods to assess and extract data of particular interest while preserving the integrity of the data. And then the analysis phase, the process to analyze the results of the examination using legally justifiable methods and techniques to derive useful information that addresses the questions that were important to performing and collecting the examination. And then finally, the reporting phase, which is the results of the analysis, which may include describing the actions used, explain how the tools and procedures were selected, and determining what the actions needed to be performed. Thank you, and that was my presentation as being an expert witness.